Sister told my date. I have issues. He's a therapist, and immediately saw. She's the problem here. My phone won't stop vibrating, and I'm standing in a restaurant bathroom with my lipstick half done, while my date, my actual date, is outside the door saying my name like he's trying to keep his voice calm for my sake. I look down, and it's not one message. It's a flood. Are you okay? From my cousin. Call me right now. From my mum. A missed call from Dad. 2 from my sister, Rena. Then a notification from Instagram that makes my stomach drop. Someone has tagged me in a video, and the thumbnail is literally the corner of this exact restaurant, the host stand, and my sister's face mid-scream. I tap it, and it loads, and there she is, right now, 10 minutes ago, filmed from someone's table like it's entertainment. Rena leaning across the host stand, pointing her finger at my date, loudly announcing, "She has issues, like serious issues. She'll ruin your life." And then my date's voice, steady, low, shockingly clear, says, "I can see you're very upset. I'm not available for this conversation." The camera swings and catches him standing there, shoulders square, not angry, not defensive, just grounded. Rena laughs in that sharp, performative way she does and goes, "Oh my God, of course you'd say that. You're a therapist, right? Diagnose her for me." And he doesn't take the bait. He says, "I'm hearing a lot of control in how you're talking about her." Then the video cuts right, as the host says, "Ma'am, you need to leave." The bathroom door rattles softly. "Hey," my date says, still gentle, still not panicking. "You're safe. Can I come in?" My hands are shaking so hard I almost drop my phone. I open the door a crack, and I can see him in the mirror behind me. Tall, awkwardly holding his jacket, eyes locked on mine like he's making sure I'm still here. Then I hear Rena again from the foyer. Louder now, her voice cutting through the restaurant like a siren. "Ask her about her meltdowns," she screams. "Ask her about how she treats our parents." People are staring. Someone laughs. Someone gasps. And my watch buzzes again. Family group chat. 38 new messages. I open the group chat with my thumb, and it's chaos in text form. Auntie's typing in all caps. My mum, "Where are you?" Dad, "Come home now." Rena, "I tried to warn him. Don't blame me." My cousin posts the same video link and writes, "This is all over TikTok." Then another message appears. This one is from an unknown number, and my blood turns cold because the preview says, "I'm his client. I know him. I saw what your sister said." My phone is basically a live grenade in my hands. My date, Elliot, takes one look at my face and says, "Okay, we're leaving." Not a question, a decision. He guides me toward the back exit like he's done this before, but not like a hero, like an adult who refuses to let someone else turn my night into a circus. We round the corner, and there's Rena in the middle of the dining room now, because of course she pushed past the host. She's crying and laughing at the same time, mascara already starting to smear, arms flung wide like she's auditioning for sympathy. "There she is," she announces to the entire room. "Ask her why she lies." Then she looks at Elliot, and her face snaps into this fake worried sister expression. "Elliot, please," she says, using his name like they're friends. "You don't understand. She manipulates people. She's charming at first, and then—" Elliot doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't insult her. He doesn't even look like he's enjoying this. He just says, clearly, "Stop. You're trying to control the narrative by discrediting her. That's not concern. That's sabotage." The room goes quiet in that way it does, when strangers realize they're watching something too real. Rena's mouth opens like she's about to laugh it off, but then she falters because he's not playing her game. She tries again, softer, more poisonous. She needs help, she says, eyes flicking to me like a dart. She's unstable. That's a label, Elliot says. You're using it to make her smaller. He turns slightly, so he's not blocking me, but he's also not leaving me exposed. If you actually cared, you wouldn't be doing this in public. Rena's face changes. The mask slips for half a second. It's not worry. It's rage. You don't know anything about our family, she snaps, voice sharp enough to cut. She's always been like this. Always dramatic. Always. She lunges a step forward, like she's going to grab my arm, and Elliot steps between us without touching her. The host appears with security. Someone's phone camera flashes. Rena spins toward the nearest table, like she's collecting witnesses. See? She says loudly. See how she gets people to protect her? And that's when I realize she didn't come here to warn him. She came here to humiliate me in front of someone new. She came here because she couldn't stand the idea that I might be happy for one night without her hand on the steering wheel. My phone buzzes again, this time with a notification that makes my vision tunnel. Rena posted a story. If you're on a date with my sister tonight, run. She tagged the restaurant. She tagged me. She tagged Elliot, because he must have been visible in the background of some photo. Comments start sliding into my DMs like flies. Girl, what did you do? That's messy. Are you okay? Your sister is wild. And then the worst thing. A screenshot resurfaces in the family chat. An old one. From years ago. Posted by Rena herself like she's proud of it. It's a message she sent me after I got my first apartment. You'll always need me. You can't do life without my help. Under it she types, this is what I mean. She thinks she's independent, but she's delusional. My hands go cold. Not because I'm scared of her, because I'm suddenly, painfully clear on what this has always been. So I do one bold thing while everyone is still watching, and my heart is hammering, like it's trying to get out of my ribs. I open the family group chat. I ignore the screaming. I ignore the calls. I attach 3 screenshots. Rena begging me last year to cover her rent because she forgot. Rena calling me psycho when I said no, and the voice note where she hissed, if you don't help me, I'll make sure everyone knows what you're really like. Then I type one sentence. Stop calling me unstable to cover up your control. I'm leaving. Do not contact Elliot. Do not contact me tonight. I hit send. Elliot guides me out the back exit into the night air, and behind us I can still hear Rena arguing with security, still performing, still desperate for the last word. My phone keeps buzzing, but for the first time in years, I don't feel that familiar urge to fix it. I feel done. To understand why this feels unreal, you need to know what my sister was saying about me long before tonight, and how she trained my whole family to treat her version of me as the truth. Rena is 2 years older than me, which in our house meant she was the responsible one, and I was the emotional one. That's the family mythology. Rena is practical, strong, leader. I'm sensitive, moody, difficult. Nobody ever sat down and decided that officially. It just got repeated until it became fact. Rena would roll her eyes when I cried as a kid. She'd smirk when I got excited about something. If I got angry, she'd do that sweet voice. Oh, she's having one of her moments. My parents laughed because it was easier than dealing with it. And because Rena was loud and confident, her version of things always landed first. When we were teenagers, she started collecting power in tiny ways. She'd read my texts over my shoulder and then announce at dinner, "She's talking to that boy again," like she was reporting on a criminal investigation. She'd help me get ready for events, then criticize everything I chose until I changed it. She'd tell me, "I'm only honest because I love you." If I pushed back, she'd sigh and say, "See, this is why people struggle with you." It sounds small, written down. It didn't feel small, living it. The real damage came when she figured out the nuclear button. If she could convince people I was unstable, they would stop taking me seriously. Any boundary I set would become a phase. Any anger would become a meltdown. Any disagreement would become, "She's spiraling." It was the perfect trap, because the more I tried to defend myself, the more emotional I looked. And Rena loved watching me get emotional. It made her look calm. My parents bought into it because it made their lives simpler. If Rena was the stable one, they didn't have to examine anything deeper. They didn't have to admit they let her bully me. They didn't have to deal with the fact that sometimes I wasn't dramatic. I was reacting to being pushed. When I moved out at 22, it should have been a normal milestone. For Rena, it was betrayal. She said she was happy for me, with that tight smile, then immediately started helping me, like I was incompetent. She sent me spreadsheets for my bills. She told me what suburb to live in. She offered to manage my budget. When I said no, politely, she called me and said, "Don't be proud. You'll always need my help." That line became her favorite. She'd say it like a joke in front of people. "She'll be back at Mum's by winter." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, because I didn't want to seem fragile. But I wasn't fragile. I was exhausted. I built my life quietly after that. I worked. I paid my rent. I learned how to cook actual meals instead of cereal at midnight. I found friends who didn't treat my feelings like entertainment. I went to therapy, ironically, yes, because I started noticing I apologized constantly, even when I wasn't wrong. I realized I was living like I needed permission to exist. The therapist I saw back then didn't tell me my family was evil. She just asked questions that made my skin prickle. When you say no to your sister, what happens? How do you feel in your body before you answer her calls? What would it look like if you didn't manage her emotions? The first time I tried it, didn't manage her emotions, Rena lost it. She called me ungrateful. She told Mum I was cutting her out. Mum called me sobbing, begging me to stop being cold. Dad texted, "You need to respect your sister." Respect. That word got thrown at me like a leash, always from people who didn't want to do the messy work of actually listening. Rena escalated when she realized I wasn't folding as easily. She started reaching into my relationships, because that's where she could hurt me fastest. If I dated someone, she'd find a way to warn them. She'd say it casually, smiling, like she was being protective. "Just be patient with her," she'd say. "She can be intense." Then she'd look at me like she'd just patted my head. If I got upset, she'd later tell everyone, "See, I told you. She lashes out." One guy actually broke up with me after meeting my family because he said, "Your sister is a lot." He tried to phrase it gently, but I heard the real meaning. He didn't want to get involved. I didn't blame him. I blamed myself. I thought if I could just be calmer, more unbothered, more normal, Rena would stop. That was the lie. That I could behave my way out of someone else's control. Then I met Elliot. I wasn't even looking for anything serious. I'd had enough almosts, enough awkward family introductions, enough leaving restaurants with my throat tight because Rena somehow made it about her. Elliot and I matched on an app, and our first few dates were boring, in a good way. He showed up on time. He asked questions and actually waited for answers. He didn't flinch at silence. When I made a joke, he laughed like he meant it. When I mentioned my family in passing, he didn't push. He just said, "That sounds complicated," and let it sit. He told me early that he was a therapist, and my first reaction was honestly, "Great. Now I'll feel analyzed." But he didn't do that thing people do, where they turn their job into a personality. He didn't diagnose strangers. He didn't speak in motivational quotes. He was just present, which, apparently, is rare enough to feel suspicious. I avoided letting him meet my family for months, because I knew what would happen. Not because my family is loud or embarrassing, because my sister would try to take control. I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. Then, Mom guilted me into coming to Dad's birthday dinner, and I panicked and asked Elliot if he wanted to join. I tried to make it sound casual. "No pressure," I said, like I wasn't holding my breath. He said yes. Dinner went exactly how you'd expect. Rena dominated the table. She teased me. "Remember when you used to cry over everything?" Everyone chuckled. Elliot smiled politely, but his eyes flicked to me like he was checking in. Rena asked him a million questions about his job, not because she cared, but because she wanted access to a language she could use as a weapon. At one point she said, "So you can tell when someone's lying?" and laughed. Elliot didn't play. He just said, "People are usually doing their best with what they have." Rena's smile tightened. She didn't like that he wasn't joining her. After dinner, as we walked to the car, Mum said, "He seems nice. Patient. Patient. Like I'm a project." I didn't tell Elliot how much that word hurt until later. When I did, he didn't try to fix it. He said, "That sounds like a story they've been telling about you for a long time." And the way he said story made my chest ache because, yes, exactly, a story I didn't write. Tonight was supposed to be just us again. Safe territory. Rena found out anyway. I still don't know how. Probably Mum, who didn't mean to. Rena showed up at the restaurant like a missile because she couldn't handle not being included, not being the narrator, not being the authority on me. She walked straight up to Elliot while I was in the bathroom and did her usual routine. The concerned sister warning him about my issues. Only this time, she did it to someone trained to hear the subtext. Elliot told me later, in the car, voice careful. "She didn't sound worried about you. She sounded worried about losing influence." He didn't say it like an accusation. He said it like an observation, and it hit me in a way that made my eyes burn because it was so obvious, and I still kept hoping I was wrong. The fallout after the video is messy in the way family fallout always is. Mum calls crying, saying, "Why would you post those screenshots?" Dad texts that I made it public. I reply once, "Rena made it public in a restaurant." Dad says, "She was emotional." I type, "So was I. Nobody protected me." He doesn't respond. Rena texts from 3 different numbers because she's blocked on my main one. The first message is rage. "You're disgusting." The second is victimhood. "You ruined my life." The third is the classic move. "I was just trying to protect you. Protect me. by humiliating me in front of strangers, by trying to poison my relationship, by labeling me unstable so nobody believes me. Then she tries to flip Elliot. She DMs him, long paragraphs, telling him I'm manipulative, that I play the victim, that he doesn't know what he's getting into. Elliot shows me the messages without drama. He doesn't reply. He just asks, "Do you want me to block her?" My chest tightens because no man I've dated before ever asked me what I wanted in a conflict with my family. Usually they just disappeared or tried to mediate, like it was a misunderstanding. I say yes, and he blocks her. My family splits into predictable camps. My aunties who live for drama demand I apologize, for peace. My cousin Layla, Chaos Queen, messages me, "I'm proud of you." Then immediately adds, "Also, that video is going viral, sorry." My mum tries to convince me to talk it out, because she hates tension more than she hates injustice. My dad tries to lecture me about respect. Rena's friends start following me on Instagram like they're monitoring. It's exhausting. But the biggest consequence is internal. For the first time, I can't unsee what Elliot saw immediately. That Rena doesn't want closeness. She wants control. And my parents have been enabling it, because it's easier than confronting their own failure to protect me. 2 days after the restaurant, Mum asks to meet. Just me and her. Coffee shop. Neutral territory. I show up with my stomach in knots anyway. She starts crying immediately, telling me she never wanted this. I let her cry. I don't rescue her. That's new for me. When she finally looks up, she says, "Rena said she was scared for you." I stare at her. "Scared of what?" I ask. Mum hesitates. "She said you get intense," she says quietly. I feel my jaw clench. "Did she mention she screamed in a restaurant?" I ask. Mum flinches like I slapped her with the truth. Mum says, She loves you." I take a breath. "Love doesn't look like sabotage," I say. Mum starts to protest, and I cut in. Calm. Steady. "I'm not doing this anymore. If you want access to me, you don't bring Rena into my relationships. You don't pass on my information. You don't call me dramatic when I set boundaries." Mum whispers, "You're making me choose." I say, "No. She already chose. For years. You just kept pretending you didn't notice." Mum goes quiet. Not angry. Just stripped of her usual scripts. She says, "What do you want me to do?" I say, "Stop feeding her. When she calls me unstable, correct her. When she tries to get you to manage me, tell her no. If you can't do that, I'm stepping back." Mum nods, but I can see she's scared. Not of losing me, exactly, but of Rena's reaction. That tells me everything. The final beat happens that night, when Rena tries one last time to pull me back into her orbit. She shows up at my apartment building. She doesn't have my unit number because I never gave it to her. She waits by the mailboxes like she's in a movie. My neighbor texts me, "Someone is downstairs asking for you." My whole body goes cold. 10 years of conditioning makes me want to go down and smooth it over, to avoid a scene. Then I see Elliot's message pop up. "You don't have to handle her alone. What do you want to do?" I stare at the screen for a long second. Then I do the thing I've avoided my entire life, because it feels too final. I call building security. I say, "There's someone in the lobby harassing me. Her name is Rena. Please ask her to leave." My voice shakes, but I say it anyway. Rena calls me immediately. I watch it ring. I don't answer. She texts, "Come downstairs. Don't be a child." Then, "You're doing this because of him. He's controlling you." Then, "I can fix this if you just listen." Security texts me back. She has been asked to leave. My phone buzzes again. Mum calling. Dad calling. I don't answer. I open my notes app and I type one message, the cleanest truth I can manage without spiraling. I send it to my parents and to Rena in one group text, so nobody can twist it later. Do not contact my partners. Do not come to my home. Do not call me unstable to control me. If you can't respect that, you won't have access to me. This is not up for discussion. Rena replies instantly, "Wow, you really are sick." I don't clap back. I don't defend myself. I don't write paragraphs begging to be understood. I block her number. Then I block the second one when it appears. Then the third. I sit on my couch with my hands shaking, not because I regret it, but because my body is learning that peace can feel like withdrawal at first. Elliot doesn't congratulate me. He doesn't make a speech. He just sits next to me and says, "That was hard. You did it anyway." My phone buzzes one last time. Dad calling again, and I watch the screen light up, then fade, then light up again. I let it ring until it stops, and in the quiet after, with the building lobby finally empty and the night finally mine, I realize something simple and brutal. The issues Rena keeps warning people about were never the reason my life was chaotic. The chaos was her insisting she had to run it,